touch anything.
It's the greatest find yet. Nothing compares to it.
But it's definitely something you should hear.
This is The Real Deal with Larry Lawton.
Thank you very much, Selena. Can everybody hear me good? If you can, we got a great show today. We got a full two type shows. I'm literally going to be. I'm on with Paul Tellini, my buddy, a legal expert. Believe me, between us both, we're both certified paralegals. Paul, he's got 25 years experience, and that equates to about 50 years compared to today. And me, last 10 years, but I stay on top of things as much as I can with Paulie's knowledge as well. So, number one, can everybody hear me good? Paulie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Okay, that is my nickname. Larry isn't allowed being drunk. Both Larry. Yes, they can hear us. Okay, first of all, we're gonna get questions. We're gonna do a lot of stuff. We're gonna build this up. We're gonna stay in here for a minute before Paulie. I'll just talk to you, and not worry about the chat for a second here until we get this thing going. First of all, I got to make sure I'm done correct, right wise, so they could hear me, because we do know it does that. Actually, that it gives me a little bit of a hard time. First of all, we're going to be talking. Paulie and I are going to be talking all things law, and I'll tell you why I say all things, because we go off on crazy tangents. I know Paulie for a long time, and the best thing we used to do in prison, to let everybody know, is if we had a case, we would sit and just debate that case at night. And believe it or not, you come up with some really, really good ideas, good, fighting stances. Wording means everything in the law. And when you can sit and talk, and what made us really good at what we did, people, is our writing. You have to be able to write a motion that a person wants to read. So you could say, I'll tell you guys just a quick story. Paul will elaborate. In the Supreme Court, to get into Supreme Court, a lot of people don't know how to do that. And federal judge told us how. A lot of people just file it with the clerk of the Supreme Court. Well, what you do is you find a case, and I remember a really good case that Justin Thomas once said, I ruled wrongly in the Almadero case, and that was a case, an immigration case. And what he's trying to say to the people is, bring another case back to me, and I'm going to rule differently on that case. Well, if you don't read into it, and that's a dissenting opinion. So when you could read all the opinions of the case and find out, then you send a actual 2 copies. You send one to the clerk of the Supreme Court, and you send one to that actual justice, because his clerks are going to read it, and they say, oh, we got to fight for this case, because they get in a room, these judges, and they fight for a case. That's why they only hear 1% probably of cases, period. But they want to get a case that they want. So, Paul, you can elaborate on it a little bit.
Well, what they do is a dissenting opinion is good because first of all, it's a dissent is contrary to what the body of the court has already, the majority has ruled. And then the judge will say, well, you know what? I don't believe that they're correct. And then he'll make his own opinion, and he'll turn around and he'll set the perimeters within the body of the opinion why he thinks that his dissenting opinion is correct and the majorities are in error. So you have to look for cases where the justices have talked like that. You know what I mean? Or you go in and you there's other issues to go in and get them done too. But you have to have one that's basically on all fours with the dissent in order to get the dissent to try to get back up and open up them issues so they can have a debate about them themselves at the Supreme Court.
And that's so important, because no matter what your case, period, they might not hear it. We have a case here in Florida, a guy named Grossly Green. What a sad case. The Supreme Court just won't hear it. And this is a guy's life at stake. And it's not like they're doing that on purpose. That's the way the Supreme Court works, people. They look at cases that are going to be precedent setting. They're going to try to correct rulings that there's multiple different rulings throughout the circuits. So if you had one in the 11th Circuit to the 4th Circuit or the 9th Circuit, and they're all different, the Supreme Court wants to bring those in and say, this is the law of the land, and this is what you follow. Because when you fight a case, people, you fight a case. And if you could quote Supreme Court cases, you will win, period. And obviously, people, you only quote your circuit. I mean, if you start supporting, when I see a guy do a brief, Paulie, and he's got the 9th Circuit, which is the crazy circuit, and he's quoting that, and that's been overturned in so many ways, and they just, the justices and the clerks who really read these things are just going to pass it aside. Now, I'm going to read some questions here. We're getting some questions for you guys. Thank you, Phoenix, about letting us know about the audio. We're getting better and better, and we're going to be on all these platforms, Paulie and I. Believe me, you want to know about the law and you need any help with the law, anybody out there, call it what it is. Go to American Litigation Consultant. Just go on their website and ask about the case. You're going to get the straight up scoop. You don't get bullshit. You don't get lawyers trying to rape you. You don't get any of that. You get a guy who knows the law. He could follow the law. He could follow you. Even if he's going to tell you to hire a lawyer, but he's going to monitor the lawyer. And what happens is people don't know that, so. The R word. I didn't say right. Who said that? Oh, did I? Okay, you can't take that. I didn't mean that in that. I take that out, whatever you're going to do. Okay, Larry, here's a random question. How do you know how to federal traffic citation works? Like, is it tried in federal court? Anything federal will be in a federal courtroom. Even when you were in D.C., because that's federal land. Even if you're on a military base that's considered federal land, you will go to a federal courthouse. I don't know about a federal traffic citation. I never heard of one, to be honest. I didn't get one ever. I mean, that's one thing I didn't get. Paul, did you ever hear of a federal traffic citation?
Never got one. Never heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they have them. I'm sure there's a book, a guy on a base will give it to, but that doesn't have anything to do with the states. So just like, let me give you guys a quick understanding how the law actually works, and you'll understand this. How the law works is, did you know on a federal institution, that's the property that the federal government has that for a prison, they can get a doctor who is unlicensed in the state that federal prison is on, and he can still practice medicine, even if he had his medicine license taken away, as long as it's not been taken away federally. And that man, and we know that because we've seen it, we researched it, and not only we seen it, we had a doctor who didn't have a license. You remember that, Paulie? So
there's a bunch of them.
The feds are their own entity. Even in the laws of the court, there's different rules for evidence and a whole bunch of stuff. I can start thinking. My brain is getting flooded with a whole bunch. Paulie will know even more about that. Anything to add to that, Paulie?
Well, there's
Thanks,
federal, the only state, you have every state has its own jurisdiction and separate sovereignty. So you got 50 separate sovereignties, and then you have the federal authority, which would be all of the federal possessions, right? Like Guam, the Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico. But Puerto Rico is, oddly enough, is the only state or territory that if you're tried in the state for a crime, you cannot be charged in the feds for it. And it's because it's double jeopardy. So you can't be charged with murder in the feds and then murder in the state. One of
well, in the states here you can. In the United States you can.
Oh, in the United States, within the 50 states you can, but not the possessions and territory. Just Puerto Rico is the only exception. It's not like it's in the any of the other islands, or it's in Guam, for instance. Puerto Rico, Guam. You got the Mariana Islands. You got what do you call it? Saint Martin.
Oh yeah, that down there, yeah.
You got those islands in the Caribbean, and you can be charged in that district, that jurisdiction, and in the United States federal court. But with Puerto Rico, you can't. There's a Supreme Court case
Hey,
that come
Paulie,
out and said no.
where does an appeal go for? Like, I know if you're in Florida, the appeal goes to the 11th Circuit up in Georgia. Where does an appeal go for Puerto Rico?
The First Circuit.
Oh, it's good. Is the First Circuit
First
DC?
Circuit in Boston.
That's Boston.
No. First Circuit is Boston. Yeah.
Yeah, is it the Third Circuit that's DC?
No, the DC is the DC Circuit. They have their own separate circuit. And
Oh, they don't even. There's not a
happened,
number for it.
no. It's just a DC Circuit.
Wow, I didn't know that. I know. I think New York is the Fourth Circuit. Maybe I'm wrong. Or right,
Second
third,
Circuit.
fourth, second. There you go. Paulie knows all where the circuits are and stuff. I gotta look that shit up. Now, some people wanted me to get like yesterday. I was a little toasted. Who knows what's gonna happen being on this stream for a long time. I'm looking for my streamer guys. Yeah, Phoenix, thank you. Airbuzzer. I'm going on all these stuffs. Was it hot for you guys? When you say hot, if you're thinking temperature, listen to me. I can tell you prisons where I was in where we didn't have shit. Like when I was in Atlanta, you didn't have AC in the holes, and you also didn't have heat in the hole, and had broken windows in the damn place.
Mm-hmm.
So, let me tell you something. The older prisons like Atlanta was built in 1903. Now, what people don't get, and I'm going to let Paulie elaborate as well. Listen, I was in nice looking prisons. They're brand new and they sucked. They beat us. They did it all wrong. They didn't give a shit. Then you would some of the older prisons, whether it's in Atlanta or Jessup or even older than that, you can go all the way to Lewisburg, 1934, those kind of places, and they treat you better. Might have been less
Well, they're
luxurious.
all the prisons are better because the cops are more comfortable in their position. You know what I mean? And they're not trying. In a new prison, you got the inmates trying to, make a reputation for themselves, and the cops doing the same thing. So, you're gonna have cops in there that is fucking just terrible. And the other one, in the older prison, they most of the time they're laid back because one of the, as far as the staff goes, the staff is a little easy, compared to a new prison. New prisons are just, hot.
Well, I was in a bunch of new ones, Paulie, whether it was Yazoo, Forest City, when they started screwing with me. You're so right. People don't get that. When you are in a federal prison and it's new, they got new guards, they got new everybody, and it's a shit show. And when I say a shit show, I mean that. Nick, can you do me a favor here? Take this phone call, please, for me. And it's Joe the Trooper. I want to speak to him as well, see if we can get him next. Take it out. Tell him who you are. It's Joe the Trooper. He's a trooper from Pennsylvania. He follows our show. He's an active trooper, which is good, so he can talk about what's going on in law up in Pennsylvania and stuff of that nature. So we got, first of all, I hope everybody on Spotify and everybody's going to like it, because we're going to be all over with this. And we're going to be bringing a lot of different things to this whole platform, because I can actually look at you guys. I can get questions. We can talk about a law case. I can actually watch a case right here. And Paulie and people and I. Now, Paulie and I have a lot of fun. We're going to tell stories about what we used to do and hang out and how we survived in prison and how, it was fun. Listen, as much as it was bad, when we were together, we had a tight-knit group of guys that were close, and we'd help each other, and we'd eat with each other and walk the track, exercise, do whatever we had to do to really survive, guys. That's what we did. So, yeah. So, and Elliot Jameson asked, do you have air conditioners? Some prisons sure do. But what a lot of people don't get about how screwed up the system is, man, they shut water off on you. They shut hot water off on you. They'll shut the AC. They'll do so many things, and they can do those things to screw with you. And anybody says they don't screw with you, shit, right now today be people being screwed with right now, and it's sad because I know it. And you'd think they could fix it, and they could. And and I mean what I'm going to say here. If I ran the prison system, if Paulie ran the prison system, we could run a hell of a compassionate, rehabilitative prison system that would have a lower recidivism rate, treat people better, and still do the job of incarcerating people. Because we're not here to say that people don't deserve to be incarcerated. We were in prison where people don't belong to be out. You know that, Paulie, the crazies.
Oh, hell
But
yeah.
a lot of them do deserve
For
to
real,
be out.
a lot of them should have been shot.
You know, you're not wrong on that, Paulie. We know that. It's a shame that is, but it's the truth. A lot of these guys are crazy. Piper Club, nice to catch a stream. I'm glad you guys are on.
Question.
The what?
Here's a question from Elliot Jameson. He wants to know how Peter Navarro is doing. How do you think he's doing, Larry? I think he's having a ball.
Who?
Peter Navarro.
Who? Oh,
Peter
shit.
Navarro.
You're talking.
He worked for Trump.
Yeah, I know. Where is he?
In Eglin, I
Well,
believe.
first of all, what people don't know, all those kind of crimes, guys, they're in camps. So, and a camp is literally you can walk away from it. Now you won't. That's stupid. You'll be a fugitive. The whole works on that. Then you'll never go back to one of those places. But it's bad enough today. They have cell phones in prisons of all levels. I can imagine what they got in a camp today, Paul. We never saw a camp. Obviously, we didn't have that kind of luck.
No.
But I understand that 100%. But people have to understand the levels of prison. I love when people say, "Oh, I'd rather be in the state than the feds." No, you wouldn't. Not the feds' max securities. You don't want to go there because they don't give a fuck about you. They will send you on a plane across the country on a whim. On a whim. And now you are away from your family, and they don't care how much money you got. They don't care if you're a mobster or what. Yeah, the what?
Diesel fuel.
Yep, diesel therapy, as let's say. They will put you on a plane and mess with you, and they did it to me. I didn't know why until I found out from Massey, who I want to bring on here. He's the guard. We are gonna. I just don't understand personally. Why people who've never been in a real prison don't understand.
I never was in Yazoo there, Yard Pimp.
I was in Yazoo, Mississippi. It was a gang unit. Matter of fact, they ended up sending Farley. You remember, not Farley, Brawley. They sent Brawley. Yeah, well, they made him SIS, Paulie, and they sent them to see me, and he fucked with me right away, threw me right in the box. What a prick. But, no, Paulie wasn't in Yazoo. Paulie stayed a lot of time in Edgefield. He did a lot of, then he did Allenwood, a couple other prisons around the place. I did in the Mariana and stuff, and Jessup and Coleman. But he did a lot of time in Edgefield. Edgefield was a rough joint too when we were there. They were jumping off with gangs and stuff and everything. It was a pen back then. They
sent me to Edgefield to punish me, and it turned out to be like a really good move.
Raphael wants me to come back. Yes, I'm gonna be reviewing a new heist movie after this video with Paulie right now. I will be doing that. So yes, you guys are gonna like that as well. So I think that's gonna be pretty good. State prison. Alex, it's great because I just came back from Kentucky on business and pleasure. And I don't know about the state prison in Kentucky. I love the weather. I'll be straight up, man. I love that weather, Paulie. This weather in Florida is going to be a rough one, I have a feeling, this year. It's already 90 degrees. And, we're getting too old for this shit. How's the weather in Columbia? Paulie's in Columbia. And no, he's not in the drug business anymore. He's still in the health business. So, Paulie, how's the weather there?
I have a sweatshirt and a jacket. I'm freezing my ass off. It's cold.
You're freezing
right now, and it's like 55 degrees. Winter is high. It's 55, so it's not freezing, but it's cold.
Are you in the mountains of Columbia?
Altitude.
You're near Bogota, correct?
No, I'm in.
Paulie's freezing up a little bit. I don't know why. We hope we get that back.
Capital, and it's no. We have one.
Yeah, I think Paul. I think people. I'm missing Paulie a little bit here. I don't know if other people are as well. Uh, the I know. How did you all deal with the heat, Larry? Well, like you said, you dealt with it any way you can, man. I remember fans, and I remember shit. They would put fan. I remember when they didn't have AC. It was terrible, man. Uh,
We used to take a bag of ice and put it over the vent, and the vent would blow, right, and it would blow the cool air into the cell. So you tape a box up there with no ass to it, no back, and then you would turn around and sit the ice bag in there, and that's how we would stay a little bit cooler.
we tried everything. Matter of fact, ice was a big commodity there. We'd empty those ice machines real quick. Remember that, Paul? Especially if we heard a
Oh yeah.
lockdown coming, man. Get that ice. I remember you used to send Flipper. Flipper, get the ice. Get the ice.
Oh yeah, and I knew something
So,
was going on. You gotta have it.
see, we knew what to do.
Gotta
We'd
have
get
that ice.
batteries and ice and always have them ready to go. So for a lockdown, because the prison will lock you down, especially anything to do with a gang or anything to do with group stuff. They know something's going to jump off. They're locking that prison down. And boy, is it a zoo then. You don't get fed right. People, they try to bring
Right, get
administrators.
sandwiches for 2, 3 days.
Uh, if
You
that,
know, although what were them little meals they used to give? They give them to kids. I seen them. They sell them in the supermarket. That little
yeah, there's
kids
little like the Lunchables, the little thing, the
lunch. That's
crap.
what they're Lunchables. They used to give us Lunchables.
And they were outdated. You ever see the crap we used to get with the crackers on the planes and stuff? Oh my God.
I remember getting chicken from Russia, and this was when I was a clerk in Edgefield in the kitchen, and they brought in chicken, right? So I walked into the get my little cold cuts and stuff out of the butcher shop that I was going to be stealing for the day, and and we turned around. When I walked in, I almost gagged, and they had all this chicken laid out, and they turned around, and I said, "What the is that smell?" They said, "That's just the chicken." I said, "Well, you can't feed that shit to the people. What's wrong with you? Throw that away." They said, "We can't throw that away. We ain't go. I'm not going to the hole because they want to throw some shit away that you think is bad." I said, "Come on, man. You have to, you can't feed this to these people." They had big black marks on it. It was nasty. And I picked the box up, and it said not for human consumption, and it was from Russia, right?
Are you
And I was
kidding
like,
me?
"What are you? You got to be
Uh,
kidding me! This is terrible." So I started dumping the chicken into the bag and into the garbage bucket, right? And the cop walked by, the kitchen cop, and she turned around and she said, "What are you doing?" Blah 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 blah. And I said, "Hey, your boss told me to come by here and see what's up. The shit smells rotten. I'm throwing it away. I'm doing what he asked me to do." Now he never asked me, right? But we had a relationship, you know what I mean?
eh,
And she took me into the office and she said, "He's throwing all the chicken away." And he looked at me. I said, "Go by there and smell it. It's all rotten. You can't feed that to these guys. You'll have people sick. Their hospital's going to be full. You're going to have a riot on your hands. You cannot feed these people that chicken." And he just looked at me and picked up on it and went into the butcher shop and he almost puked. And so he said he came out. He told the butchers clean that shit off, throw it all, disinfect this entire area, and we'll pull something else for lunch. Let me see what we got. And I mean for dinner. And when he turned around, he was a good guy. You know what I mean? He wasn't an asshole. And he took her in the office, and you could hear him yelling. He said, "You had to have my clerk tell you to throw shit away when you can smell that stuff even outside the room when the door's locked. Are you
Jesus.
kidding me?" You know what I mean? So he was good with us. We had some good food administrators that you get to know when you're working in that kitchen and you're working close to them.
Paulie, when I was in Atlanta,
Shit, but
when
yeah.
I got there, when I was in Atlanta in 1997, we were eating Desert Storm. It was on the fucking box, 1992 Desert Storm fucking meat. Now, Paulie, when I tell you I chipped the tooth, first of all, it's the lowest cut shit you can get right near the bone. I chip a tooth or so. I fucking quit eating for a year, Paulie, because meat. It was the most disgusting thing.
Oh, I
I
felt the
almost
tooth on
puked.
beans.
Yeah,
I
on
felt the tooth on
beans.
beans. Yeah, in Miami back in the day,
Boy,
eating
tell them what they
beans,
do when you
black
break a
beans.
tooth or you get a cavity.
Shit, you just pulling it out. They're
They're
taking it. They're not
lucky. They
saving it.
pull it. They ain't doing anything else. They ain't filling it. They ain't doing it. Pulling it out. You're done. I love when people. At least you'll get medical care.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know. Hey, we got a guy here, Gold Eye. We can tell you've been in a joint, obviously. He's talking about some pill lines and stuff, all the crap we know and do. Obviously, there's so many ways to maneuver in prison. It's funny when I think about pill line and what it was for us. It was for the junkies to get needles. It was for the bookies to pass off tickets and everything else. Where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah, Paulie.
Yeah.
Bad
It was all
lag,
family.
Mike. Is that on Paulie or is that on me? I hope it's not.
No,
Let's
I
see.
think that's on me. Hmm.
Nick is here. Nick is in the house. Who's the lad? There you go. I love the who's too. You served time at Butler. No, I didn't. Butler is a medical unit now. We know a lot of people who went to Butler. Right. Okay. Nick made a good point when I read chats to just make sure I'm specific on who said it and what, so we can. Okay. Sure enough. Good enough. Okay. The FBI asked me, Larry, how can I wear an FBI T-shirt or jacket without going to prison or jail? I just want to wear it without committing crime. You can wear one of those. You can act as or impersonate a
You
police
can't put
officer or
yourself
federal.
out as an agent.
Right. If you do that, you will get arrested.
Because they have a lot of people here that wear that type of shit. They wear the hats, the jacket, they'll wear the DEA, FBI, CIA. They just wear these crazy hats, and they're younger kids. But you can't pretend to be one. You know what I mean?
Yes, Andromeda 5. He says, Paulie the Beast. Yes. Paulie and I, listen, I'll tell you the truth, and I'll sit this up, and I mean this right here. I will put our knowledge up against any lawyers that want to come on here, especially federal law and the federal law. In fact, I have a friend here, Judge Silverman, actually says to me, he goes, Larry, you'd be one of the better federal lawyers around here. Forget the 924C or 922G, all the gun laws. That's my spec. Paulie did it all from CCEs, which is continuing criminal enterprise, a whole bunch of other things, and up and down the bank. And for Paul, I did more of the CFR, which is Code of Federal Regulations, and I used to like to mess with the prison, if you want to call it that. Paul used to say, you crazy son of a bitch, why are you doing this? You're going to go back to the hole. Sure enough, I did. Hello from Brunswick, Georgia. Hey, there's a Brunswick, Georgia, Paulie. That's a Brunswick for us. That's right in Jessup, Brunswick, Indiana. I like that. Okay. Let me go back. I've been down. Okay. Larry, did you ever watch the Dateline show To Catch a Predator? When I was in Avenel State Prison, I met one of the guys on that show. This was before he got caught on the show. Yes, I've watched the show. They're pigs. Anybody who does that's a pig. I used to be bad with it. I used to pull the paperwork. Paulie remembers that. On the chomos and everything. We used to call them chomos. But I'll tell you what I don't like. And Paul, I'd like you to chime in on this. We got YouTubers out there and Twitch people, whatever, your social media people, trying to set these people up. And they're doing it so wrong. They don't know if it's right, legal. First of all, you're putting a person out there. You're assaulting him without
I think
obvious.
what they do is they get a tip that person from what the show that I seen I watched it a couple times, and the shows that I seen, they would connect with a predator who was thinking he was just like the cops do. They're thinking that the guy's thinking he's talking to a 12-year-old boy, and it's not. It's a grown man. It's just not law enforcement. And then they go to meet them, and they expose them on live videos, right? And they're doing it. I thought that, my understanding was that they were doing it because there was so much happening, and the cops weren't really doing nothing to try to put an end to this child trafficking and all that other stuff. So I like the show. I think the show
I'll
is
tell you,
pretty good.
Paulie, as a legal guy and a legal mind, here's what I don't like about it. Let me just give a scenario here, and you'll understand law-wise, because I always jump into my law hat. They take a kid or somebody that comes to a door. How do they even know at that point? These guys aren't professionals. These aren't cops. How do they know that this kid wasn't set up by another friend to go there to meet, to pick something up? I don't know. I'm not sticking up for anybody who does that, obviously. But I don't like when they go out there trying to be the law when they're not the law. You want to bring the cops in, that's a whole nother thing. And I agree with that part of it. I
Well,
really do.
I think
Cordis,
that
thanks for the
they
5.
they started. I think they started
Thank
doing
you.
that. They started to involve the police after the fact. When they hook them, then they say, "Listen, we got this person. This is what we do." Because I think one of the shows that I was watching, it's exactly what happened. They contacted the cops. The cops went with them into the scene, and they just filmed the rest of it. They exposed them. You know what I mean? So.
Well, listen, the more people expose them, the better. But what happens if you don't do it right? Not only are you getting a guy smarter out there,
Oh, then they're
who
gonna get off. They're gonna get
and
off
they're
if
totally gonna get off.
smart enough.
Or worse than that, Paulie, I really don't want to see somebody accused of that who is not that. I think you and I remember. See, what people don't know is when I pulled paperwork on people, we know what to look for and what to read. We can read the charge. We can read when the charge is for an under 12-year-old person. That's actually a federal crime, a different statute, and a different
What's the difference,
code.
Patrick?
Right. So what I'm getting at is we know what we do. I didn't pull people's paperwork and think, I think he's a rat. No, we knew he was a rat. We knew what he said. We had FBI 302s. We had transcripts. We had the motion they put in for downward departures, everything else. So I just want people to get that in their heads. You got to do things right. Because one, you could, first of all, be involved. First of all, if you do that and you're a YouTuber and that kid gets killed, you could be up as an accessory to murder. Think about that. You totally
you can be in big problems. You can create big problems yourself. Say the guy but they do it in they're saying he
We
thought
love
he
the
was
first step
meeting
back.
a
Yeah.
13-year-old boy. You know what I mean, or a 12-year-old girl. Whatever the victim is. I mean, the ones that I seen, they should have been. The
What
cops
you
should have.
know, Paulie, again, you don't know what was edited. You don't know how it was done. You don't know
Well, that's true.
if I don't see police there at some point or the other, and I seen them beat and had people punching these guys. If you knock that guy out and hit his head, you're going away. You're going away. I stopped pulling paperwork. Paulie will remember it because I was worried about getting pushed into a conspiracy or a murder. These guys were throwing guys off tiers and beating the shit out of them really bad.
Yeah, they have to. They have to do their own work. You know. Lost you on the. I lost you on the audio. Can you hear me, Larry?
I'm sorry, everybody. That was me. I hit my mute button. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Could you hear
Can
me when I
everybody hear
tell
me?
you I lost it?
Yeah, can you
Hello,
hear me?
hello.
You're good, Larry.
Oh, I am good. Okay. It was muted. Sorry about that, guys. Yep, we are back. We are learning. Thank you. I'm on Twitch more. I'm going to be doing this because I'm enjoying it. I can actually play shows over here and review. In fact, after our show right here, Paulie, I'm going to be doing a GTA review of a heist
What's
and tell them what's
GTA?
bullshit. What's GTA? Grand Theft Auto, Paul. Come on.
I don't know none of that, Larry. I'm not 17. I don't know what these kids do.
Paulie, I'm not 17 either. I'm trying to.
Well, you're trying to be young. I know when I was your age, I did the same thing. I didn't want to get old.
When you were my age, you were in jail. No, you weren't. No, you got out. You've been out.
Yeah.
How old are you, Paul? You're 68?
67.
67. I'm 60. I'll be 63. So we're 5-6 years apart. No, you've been out long enough. I picked you up, and that was the great day when I picked. Just to let everybody know out there, I picked Paul up at the Miami airport. Let him tell you a story, Paulie, when you got out. What happened?
Which one? When I first.
Well, you
when
got
I was
out.
At the airport,
The airport. You were nervous as shit.
House, and I went to the what was it?
Yeah.
I think it's White Deer, Pennsylvania airport, and we flew to Atlanta. And when I was at the airport, I was like, wow, everything was strange. So anyway, I went in the bathroom to piss. I asked the cop, let me go in the bathroom, go to the bathroom. He let me go in there, and I didn't know how to flush the toilet when I was done. And I heard a guy say, he must have seen me looking around, trying to figure out what's going on. And he said, just step away from it, and it will, to flush. And I was like, what did you say? Because I'm in the bathroom with a guy I don't know. I'm in the airport. And I was like, what is this dude doing? Watching me, And then he did the same thing when I was washing my hands, right? He said, just back away from the sink. And we'll flicking, you got to wave your hand under the spigot to get the water to come out. It was weird,
That,
and even
the
the order in the sub at Subways, I got all panicky. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did that one.
I ended up didn't get nothing.
All those, I had those with that, and that's why I didn't let you get picked up by someone who didn't know. I didn't let my brother, because I went thinking, I just want to be on a bus, but I was a vegetable. I couldn't order coffee. I couldn't do anything. I was like a kid. I didn't know. You were like a newborn baby. And I said to my brother, Dave, when you get out, don't bring anything. I got it all. I went all the way up to Allenwood to pick him up. I said, listen, Dave, don't bring anything. I don't care what it is. Just come out. You can come out here naked. I'll bring your clothes. We'll go get your clothes, whatever. He comes out with his cup, and you think, what
he didn't
the
want to
fuck?
let that coffee cup go, did he?
Boy, how it is. I've watched guys bring home laundry. Maybe my mother doesn't have laundry detergent. It's just you are so in a different world. You don't get it. People don't understand, and they won't until they go. And don't go, please, anybody. And thank you, all you guys. Jenny, thanks for glad you're here too. All you guys are glad. The gamer, hey, love it. Beefing, Saber Speed. So we're doing this the way we want. That's what's going to be fun on this whole thing. And I'm loving this whole entire way you could just do live and have fun and do this stuff, Paulie. We're learning more and more every day. Trump was found guilty, Lawton. Now what? You want to know that? That's a great question. Okay, let me answer my end. I'm going to let Paulie answer his end. First of all, what's going to happen? Nothing. It's a misdemeanor bullshit case. He's not going to see a day in jail on that case, period. End of story. If he did, I'd fall out of my chair if he did a day of jail time on that case. Number two, I think that was a witch hunt personally. And I'm not, let's put away like Trump, hate Trump, doesn't matter. In my opinion, that was the biggest waste of taxpayer money, 34 counts of pretty much paper maneuvering, and people do it, and who's accounting. Listen, what he paid Stormy Daniels, who cares? It's none of my business. I don't think any of the donors that donated money complain that he paid anybody. That's up to them. So there's no victim per se. And, you know, that's bullshit. And if a guy wants to have a sex affair, it's between him and his wife, not the people. That's number one. On that case, he is a felon, but in my mind, a bullshit felon. That's crap. I don't have shit felons like that. They would laugh at me. You know, if I went back to the mob and said I got that felony, they go, "What? Get out of here!" You know, you don't. Paulie, what do you think of that?
Well, I think that anyone who they can accuse of a crime, usually the accusations come from an unbiased person. In Trump's case, the prosecutor ran on getting Trump. And that's how they were in that Alvin Briggs, whatever his name is. And he ran, and him and that the Fannie Willis there, whatever, in Georgia, they both ran on a platform of I'm going to get Trump. Now you can't be an unbiased person if you gained your political office by running on a campaign to get somebody. How can you sit and you know work on their case where you're supposed to be unbiased? That's the one of the biggest things I have. The other thing is there's like hundreds of congressmen and senators throughout the years that have gotten busted for sexual harassment cases, and they entered into non-disclosure agreements, right? And they use a publicly funded slush fund to pay those people off, and they pay them. I think it was the last time I looked at it, it was like $17 million in public money. You know, that's taxpayer money that's going to shut victims up like Stormy Daniels, right?
And I'm sure it's both parties.
Right, both parties. They're both parties. There's the majority is Democrats, but there are both parties members involved.
And I don't know about that. I'm the pushback on that, but okay.
Well, you know, we can Google it and do the breakdown. You know,
go ahead,
Nick.
Larry, Craig, right? And all these guys. Go ahead.
And now look at everything that's going on in the media, right? It's just there's a two-tiered system, and if you're not on the team that's in charge and you get in trouble, you're screwed. You know, you're in deep problems. You're going to have a bunch of problems. If you're on the team that won, then you know you have connections and they can do things to help you. You know, but Trump, what he's accused of doing,
you know, obviously we're not going to get into the Trump thing today. He's his own worst enemy. We know. I believe that. Not that he didn't have good certain things, but he's his worst enemy. And yes, Sabresby, I am going to be acting on. I'm going to be doing a game tonight. Actually, I will be playing Spider-Man GTA here, getting ready for GTA 6, stuff of that nature. So. Listen, maybe I know something's coming on with GTA. You know, I do interview with Lester and Michael and all the guys. So people want to know if I'm going to be doing gaming. Yes, I'm here to game. So what's this? What do you think, Bob? We'll get pure. What are you reading? Oh, on the new game 64. Do you think Bobby Bosolo will get parole in 20? He's an ex-Manson family member who was involved in the murder of Gary Hinman, but has made music. So you can make music all you want. If that's the Tate case as well, there was the murders with Charles Manson with Manson. That guy was really whacked out. But I don't know how the state of California. That's a California case. That wasn't a federal case. Number one. So I don't know how California's going to work on that one. You know, I'm a believer in yes, parole, yes, time. Listen, people change. I don't care what you say, Paul, and I'll tell you, when we were younger, we were totally different people. That doesn't make us right, wrong.
So did you see this question, Brian and Nick? Did either of you ever think about being with another man in prison? No, I never thought
Yes.
about that. Did you do that, Larry?
Uh,
You know,
hell yeah. No.
just asking. No, I didn't.
No, listen, let me tell you something. You know, there's an old saying, it's funny, what goes on in prison stays in prison. That's not true. You know what? I never look at any of that shit. I don't give a crap. I really don't. I don't think that has any bearing on anybody. I don't look at people different. I could tell you stories that go on in prison I've been to weddings in prison. The punks will tattoo their lips red and right, Paulie, tear their
Oh, they
eyes
have them.
and now would listen, to each his own. I'm gonna
They
leave that
had
alone.
tits, they had implants, they had all kinds of shit going on. But yeah,
Oh
no,
man.
that's for those
Paulie,
who
tell a
were
couple
into
of
that,
funny stories about a few that we knew.
about the ones
A
that
punk.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you a good one. When I was in Memphis back in '90, I think it was 90 91, and it was a really really wild place. And there was this Gump, and he got married. Puerto Rican guy married this other Puerto Rican kid,
When Paulie's
and
saying married, it's not a legal marriage, people. It's just it's prison
well,
stuff.
they was married. They was
Yeah.
ready to have babies, you know. But a guy beat up the boyfriend, and they was in the hole, right? And they didn't catch the guy that had done it. Well, somebody's told that he was on the yacht. He was still on the yacht after he beat the one kid up, right? And then they were taking him to the shoe, walking him across the lawn, right? And the female, I guess, would be the good ones with the little titties and shit, right? He climbed up over that fence, ran in between them two lieutenants that were escorting that kid cuffed behind his back to the shoe, and she started stabbing the shit out of him, right?
Oh,
And I was like, wow. And it was like, don't you ever hit my man, bum, bum, bum. And she must have stuck him about 20 fucking times, buddy. The cops ran. They dropped that kid and ran,
gee,
and it was like then the deuces went off and everybody run to the yard, for the thing. And we were watching it from the fence. Like, holy shit, But yeah, that was
that
a good one with that.
what Paulie's talking about the deuces is the radio. They have a radio on their thing with a little orange button. When they hit that, they call it the deuces because any phone in prison you can hit 222 and they come running and they're all zoned. I'll give you guys a funny story about a punk. I was in Atlanta, and now they have A house, B house, D house, and C house is the hole, another hole, and the big hole down, a new hole they call it. So anyway, I'm in D house hanging out, and not supposed to be down from A house, but it didn't matter. So I was down at D house, and I was in the TV room, and my chair's up against the wall. I had somebody's chair. I think Vic Arena was there, and a bunch of guys we'd hang out with. So we watch a guy come into the room and stab a guy in front of me in the neck, right? He turns and we just all get out of the TV room, and a guard locks the door to the TV room, hits the deuces, is screaming, lockdown. We're not going anywhere at this point. I ended up going to someone else's cell in D house just until then I told the guard on the round, hey, listen, I'm out of bounds. I'm in A out. Just stay there, whatever. But anyway, we're watching this thing, Paulie. So these guys are in the room. We know that, and we watch a punk. Now this punk was a badass dude, man. He came. He took the guard. It was a girl. Threw her down. Ripped the keys off of her. Opened the freaking door, went in with a lock and beat the shit out of this dude in the place. So we're watching. Out come now, cops are everywhere and all over the place. So out comes the dude with the knife in the neck. He's laying flat on his stomach. The knife's still sticking out of his fucking neck. Out comes the guy who did it, bloodied all up on a stretcher, and out comes the punk in handcuffs. Like the punk was in handcuffs.
Yeah,
Paulie,
Dean, I
we
was involved.
laughed so hard, but I says, let me tell you, people don't get something. I watched a punk take a boiling water, put a Snicker bar and olive oil in it, throw it in a guy's face and melt his face. You do not play with those people.
Listen, I seen this black kid in Memphis, right? Where he worked in the kitchen. They had me on pots and pans and the bullshit, right? And for punishment when I first got there. And this kid, he was from, I believe he's from Detroit. He turned around and this woman cop used to harass him all the time.
Paulie was in Walpole, weren't you, Paulie?
Yeah, back in 1972. Long
I'm
time
sorry.
ago.
Go ahead. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Wow.
No, someone just mentioned that.
Yeah, I see it right there. Dean. So, hey, we turned around. This kid, he was doing something in the kitchen near the pots, and he got that boiling hot water, and he threw it on that girl, right? That was the worst fucking scream I ever heard in my life. She had bent down for something, and he took that boiling hot shit and threw it on her. And it's a good thing he didn't throw the oatmeal, because that really would have fucked her up, you know. Yeah, that was probably Memphis back in the day was a hell of a place. That was a hell of a place. What's your family, Dean?
Yeah. I'm back. I just had to get water. Yeah, Paulie, they as I tell people, man, you know, you'll see some crazy shit happen over phones, over love, if you want to call it that, messing with someone's visit, messing with somebody's. I often try to tell young people, don't ever mess with someone who gets off a phone. You never know what happened on that phone.
Pauline. Yeah, you have to. You don't know because you know. I seen guys do things. You know, their family member died while they got the news when they called home, and then somebody's trying to rush them to get off that phone. You know, this is before they had the 15 minutes, and you know, you never know what has happened, and the phones are really a sensitive area. You don't want to be talking too much shit over there. You know.
You know, it's funny. People ask one question. I got one good question is let's get Mama Lawton. I wish she doesn't like to do that, but that'd be funny. Alex, no, there's really no silly questions if you want to know that. There's no electronics in there because a lot of these people are geniuses. They'd have figured shit out and they'd be hustling and scamming people right from prison. They're doing it now. Obviously, you know, people figure out ways. It was funny. We used to have what they call kites on the doors. And here's what I mean by that. They try to stop us from communicating with each other in the hole. You know, I was in the hole for 3 years. Paulie, do you remember, Paulie? We cut the bottoms of the rubber. They put little rubber like things so you couldn't slide things on. We cut them with razor blades on the doors in the hole so we could shoot kites. I could take a kite, which is a piece of line. I'd make out of maybe the cotton of my underwear band or a sheet, or I would take a heavier, like you take a toothpaste thing, flatten it out. I could shoot that down to a friend. He'd shoot it down. We'd be down the end of the hole, the Paulie, and I would, you know, be a note in there. Hey, Paulie, give me something. I need a book or this. I need a cigarette.
You could use batteries. You flatten the
battery, and he'd send them back. We didn't need the cop.
No. You did.
There's a will, there's a way. Well, isn't that the truth? No, you can't use real money in prison. Actually, there was real money when we both first went in. They had quarters, and that went on. Then they gave what they call a grace period. So everybody could turn in their cash. That was about 96 when I got in, 97 maybe. And they took all the money off guard.
They used to be able to get $10 in coins. You get $10 in quarters. Yeah, for the machines.
No more. They don't have had money for 20 years, and what they do is they have a card. It's on your account.
Macros and stamps. Tuna. Food is the commodity.
Oh my God. Yeah. Food and boy, hey, Paulie, let everybody know. Didn't I make a mean prison pasta?
Oh, every Sunday. Every Sunday.
Man, Friday,
Olio.
Sunday, when we used to feed the guards. Aliolio,
Yep.
man, was that so good? I'm getting hungry. Even though Nick here don't like it, Paul. He says it's too garlicky or too salty or whatever.
Dry.
He dry. It ain't no dry. Oh man, Paulie.
Yeah. We had some of the best. We used to cook. I don't think we ate in the kitchen often.
No,
You know,
we
I know
didn't. You know.
in all the years that I did, I really ate in the unit all the time. You know, I wasn't
Oh, you know
going.
me, Paul. Do you remember in Coleman? I had Frankie was a cook from the kitchen. He used to deliver my food, and then Figueroa kicked me out of there. Remember the lieutenant said I was trying to run shit. Get out of
Yeah, I
here.
got
You
in
know.
trouble in there
Yeah,
with George. Actually,
you got it with Georgie Moise. George, remember? I remember that the two old guys fighting.
yeah.
Remember that 260-year-old guys, whatever they were at that point. And
At
didn't
the
Georgie
time,
Mo
yeah.
hit him with something?
He hit him with a steel chair. When I grabbed it, I tried to take it off, and I almost broke my wrist.
Yeah,
And
Georgie
then
Mo was crazy though.
they said, you know, tell us what's going on. I ain't gonna tell you. What are you talking about? You know, that
Yeah,
was
I
a
did
fucking
lose.
9 months in the
Somebody
hole,
asked.
and then shipped to Edge. That's when I went to Edgefield. I had and when I got to Edgefield, I had a big meet and greet, and we had a great time. I seen guys I hadn't seen for years. You know what I mean? Even guys from the street that I knew. I said, "Oh wow, look at this! Is like going home."
It was crazy. I
But
remember you were there before me, but then we had Dom, me, Billy, you. We had a pretty close crew up there, and
it
then
was a good crew.
yeah, I had that crew like in Atlanta where it was, some of the mobsters, Vic and all those guys. And then I had a crew, but we didn't care about that mobster shit. We didn't really. We wanted to eat, do the law, hang out. We don't play those politic games. We were in there too long.
No, we
Don't
wasn't
sit with
prison
him.
politics. Was nothing with me. I
No, not
wasn't
at
into
all.
prison politics. I was into fighting for my freedom and the freedom of others. You know,
Exactly.
and that's
Hey,
what
hey,
I
Paulie,
still do. So
I know you do all the time, and that's why we're going to do this a lot, Paulie. Hey, guys, both Twitch and everything. I am going to be going on right now, Twitch. I'm going to be going, Paulie, and I'm going to be playing a GTA heist, actually reviewing a GTA heist game, and I'm going to be going over to another area, in Twitch to play GTA. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Not play it, but actually review this game that I didn't see yet. And I will be playing games. We're just, getting up to speed. If you want to go over there, go to Twitch, Paulie. You'll understand it. It's pretty easy to run, and you'll get used to it. And let's do this,
what is that's the
Paulie.
name of the
Let's do this a
channel?
lot.
Twitch.
It's a platform. It's another platform called TWITCH, and it's purple.
Check it out.
Check it out. That'll be fun. I want to thank you, Paulie. Everybody, that's Paul Tellini, man. The best. We're really good friends to this day. We've met his wife and Chloe. He's coming back to the country here soon. We're waiting to get his ass in the studio over here and hang out. We've done that before. Him, his brother. We got so trashed in this place. We had some fun here, boy. But Paulie, I love hanging, talking story. You just bring back so many memories, and it's funny. So hang in there, Paulie. I'll be seeing you soon.
All right. You guys
And,
have a great day.
Everybody, that's Paul Tellini, American Litigation Consultants, LLC. Check him out. Really is. If you need law advice, something, this guy, there's the man to go to, period. End of story. And that's my word on that. Take care, Paulie.
All right. We'll talk with you guys later. You stay blessed.
You got it.